Hello, dear friends. Welcome to the show. My lovely audiences, I really want to talk to you about the Chinese American Film Festival and the Chinese American TV Festival, which, with the condensed ceremonies, opening ceremonies past, is now entering into the screening period of a whole section. You're talking about throughout November, and there are more than 250 films and TV wonderful masterpieces to be screened in several theaters in Southern California. You will go online with G&E TV to find information, or online with the EDI Media find information, or you want to call 626 586 856 3889 to find more information. Now, so much for that. Today, in one of the retrospect of the Chinese American Film Festival and the Chinese American TV Festival, I have the pleasure of my friend, Director Glenn Zhang, visiting me. So to Director Glenn Zhang, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jack.
All right, thank you very much.
DI.
All right. Director Glenn Zhang is a renowned director. As a new director, he has his film, the first film, I believe, that was, no, maybe not the first. What is the one that you won the Golden Angel Award for short for?
Oh my, this is 2011.
2011?
That is the seventh.
11 or 10?
Seventh Chinese American Film Festival.
2011, the seventh anniversary,
Yes.
right? Okay.
And it's called Petals Onto the Sea.
The petals onto the sea, the flower petal,
right.
onto the sea.
Yeah,
All right, good.
right.
And in that short film, I kind of like that. Even though short, it tells a long story, good story, very good story that's important to lots of parents as reference, in reference to how they want to deal with their sons and daughters whatsoever, right? Something like that. Okay, now, you were at the ceremony, all the ceremonies, and I saw you even at the opening night with the award presentation, right? You were there.
Right.
How did the whole thing impress you this year?
Well, I stayed in California, in Los Angeles, for all those years, almost 20 years, since 1995. And I started to pay attention to Chinese Film Festival, EDI Media, since I think 2009. Yes. At that time, we see there's not many films submitted. Now, compared with today, almost 500 TV series and films been submitted to the festival. It's amazing.
It is amazing, yes.
Yes. So as a whole, I could compare with what happened before, and I think EDI have done a great job.
Thank you.
To set up this platform for the filmmakers, for the actors, for the movie fans. So to get together, it's really a festival here between a platform for the Chinese and American filmmakers, and they can communicate. They can talk a lot in the field of film as art, as the market, and even now this year is a special feature TV series, TV festival. So this is a new thing.
It was a Chinese American Film Festival for film only. Starting about like 2 years ago, there's a new merge of TV submissions. Right? And the last year on the 12th, we had one window opened for TV, and that even gets more submission. All of a sudden, they come almost parallel to each other, all the way in. So this year, you're seeing a film festival and a TV festival. As a matter of fact, two parallel festivals at the same time. Yeah.
Right, and film market is very prosperous in China now, and also the TV market. I grown up with TV series. I mean, at that time in the 1980s, we watched Japanese.
Yeah.
Japanese TV series, American TV series. And now today we watch more in China. I mean, more TV series made by Chinese, and the wonderful stories being told.
Yeah.
And we see the budget. And before, I know there's they could finish one series within one day.
Yeah.
Now look at the budget, big budget, and almost the same like a movie.
You're talking about the rocket speed.
Right, and now it's and also the actors, actresses being paid a lot in playing TV series.
Yeah, of course.
And of course, I mean from the past, a lot of actors, actresses, fames being set up because of they playing TV. Because usually the TV series plays for several months, right? And so all the people are watching it at night, and now it's day and night. So I mean, they could build up their films easily with
now
TV series.
Now that we are in America, we focus on the American film market or American TV market. You're talking about, do you think we start to see more Chinese films into the mainstream theaters, or the same or less?
You mean in China?
I mean Chinese films in here in the United States.
Oh, of course, more American films in here.
No.
But they're
comparatively to what happened in the past, right?
Okay.
Do we start seeing in the United States? Do we start seeing more Chinese films?
Yes, a lot more than before. I don't remember I saw anyone when I started when I was started to stay here in 1995, and now there's AMC. AMC. It's Wanda bought it, right? And now they are in several cities. They are playing Chinese films all the time.
I would like to point out, my dear audience, that due to the efforts of EDI, due to the efforts of Chinese American Film Festival, lots of films are being recognized in the United States film market.
Yes.
That I consider a big contribution of the Chinese American film market to the Chinese, of the Chinese American Film Festival to the American film market.
Yes,
That's
that is EDI set up the platform of film festival. So more and more Asian films, of course Chinese mainly, films being introduced to the United States, to the audience.
Being recognized by American audiences, right? And what we see now, at these ceremonies, we see the film market people, right? We see the television network people, right? Okay. Well, do you see that change will bring the Chinese American Film Festival to another elevation?
Yeah, I think so, because the TV festival and the film festival not only is a platform to screening the films. Also, we talk about the business, because now the China and the U.S. There's co-productions between these two countries, and there's more and more. So into the more and people they want to talk about how we work together, not only in a film as art, also as a business, how they work together. Now Hollywood had a system of how to do films as an industry. Now Chinese is learning that. And so this platform can help the filmmakers from China to learn this industry from this platform.
Did you notice the other day when you were at the showcase, the film showcase, film and the television showcase, that was on the 31st of October, that you attended, they signed 10 contracts. 10 contracts, right? Right. For the American film market or American TV market. That's quite a big step. Do you think so?
Yeah, those companies from China now they came to the United States, and they can set up companies. They can look into more, more deep into this industry, and to work together with the film people here.
So they have the money, they have the wish, right? The money and the wish. Yet the Chinese American Film Festival and the Chinese American TV Festival offers them two platforms to play on, right? So with the two platforms, they sign contracts that will go through you. Go find whatever, like that kind of thing, right? So we need my project of $2 million. We need a 2 million is too small, right? We need a project with $20 million or $50 million, something like that. So I expect to see lots of big move. Now that we have AMC being bought by Wang Jielin, I believe.
Yeah, Wanda Group.
Wanda Group. And now you probably want to see the film festival group probably for the American market with the Chinese investors. Right. Very good. My dear friends, today with me is my good friend Glenn Jiang, director of films. And by the way, Glenn is also a calligrapher for Chinese hand brush writing.
Yeah, right? I'm into all those visual arts, including calligraphy and painting as
ink color painting.
Ink color painting. You could say so, right? But I always see the
for
Chinese
a director who knows films and also ink color painting, that's a privilege, I believe.
Well, I know there's a lot of visual artists that became director later on.
Very good, very good. All right, let's take a very short moment out. When we come back, we will probably talk about him and his projects or recent project. Please stay with us. Hello, dear friends, lovely audiences. Welcome back to the show. Jack Zhao on the East-West Show with the G&E TV. With me today is my good friend, Mr. Glenn Jiang, director, and I would say artist for all visual art. How about that?
Thank you.
Talking about Chinese American Film Festival and Chinese American TV Festival in the retrospect. Looking into now and looking into short future, we have some projects to check with him, with Mr. Glenn Jiang, director, for his plan or recent plan or near future plan about what you're doing, right? So question is, what you are doing now as your project?
Well, the project I have right now, the most important to me now for the coming year is called 13 Daughters, which
13 Daughters.
The title was used by a musical, Broadway musical in 1961. Played the main character played by Donna Michi, who is very famous in the film and on the stage. And this now I would actually this is a biographical story. It's not on Donna Michi, not on 13 Daughters to play, but is on the writer, the playwright called Bob Magoon,
who
wrote the play 13 Daughters. So I all through this year since 2009, I interviewed him. I shot a documentary for him that also screened in Fullerton College with the 8th Chinese American Film Festival. Remember that? So and now we I combine everything together. I wrote a book. Remember, it's called "Lay of Memories." Subtitled 13 Daughters. And we firstly we wanted to use the name Bob Magoon as the playwright to name this biographical film. And now we changed the idea. We want to just straight go as 13 Daughters to emphasize.
Bob Magoon is the writer for the story of 13 Daughters.
Yes,
Am I right?
he used his great grandpa's story as a background. He rewrote it into.
Was he the playwright for the musical 14 Daughters, or was he the writer for the film that you were doing in the 13 Daughters?
No, he wouldn't do he couldn't do that. He's 95 years old now. As far as I know, he's just hospitalized. So this is quite a.
In other words, he wrote the play, the stage play, for the musical 13 Daughters. And your $13 is a story about him.
About Bob Magoon.
About
so this
Bob
biographical
Magoon.
Story on Bob Magoon. Yes.
And then who are the $13?
The $13 actually, they were given birth by the Bob Magoon's great-grandpa, Chen Ah-fang's wife.
Bob Magoon is related. He's the descendant.
Fourth generation descendant.
Fourth generation descendant
of Chen Fang. His name is Chen. Our Chinese name is Chen Ah-fang, and they used the first name Ah-fang as the last name.
I see. Ah-fang Chen.
Ah-fang Chen. Ah-fang. So we talk about the Ah-fang family in the United States. It's a big Chinese family, and the richest man in Honolulu in Hawaii. Nowadays we could see he could be the first millionaire in the Hawaii kingdom at that time, or even the world.
What was the background of the grandfather, great-grandfather of Magoon, Ah-fang Chen?
Ah-fang Chen.
Ah-fang Chen, yeah.
Yes.
What was the year?
He's just the year
what
is
the
year after the Second Opium War. He tried to make a living in Honolulu.
That's in the
1845 to 1849.
Okay.
Yeah, he returned China in 1890. Yeah, because of the Chinese Exclusion Act, he was forced to leave the island for China, and that is a different story. And this is just a background Magoon used to write his play, $13. $13. The eldest daughter actually is a Magoon's grandma. So now you understand the relationship.
Okay,
but
Bob
now
Magoon is the grandson
of
one of the daughters of Ah-fang Chen.
The biggest daughter.
The oldest daughter of Ah-fang Chen.
Yes.
One of the 13.
Yes.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and actually the first one, the oldest.
And how come the Bob Magoon doesn't go by Chen?
Magoon he couldn't because that is his great grandma. That is grandma to Ah-fang's daughter. So he's not his family.
He goes with the grandfather.
Grandfathers, not grandmas.
Oh, I see. I see.
And now we talk about the biography of not Chen Ah-fang but Magoon, how he went through life from a merchant, from a lawyer the family wanted him to be, all the ways to a musical playwright. This is a story about.
I see.
And actually, this old man right now is still at the very beginning. He built up
what confuses me is that Bob Magoon is the person still alive today, 95-something years old, right?
Yes.
Okay, now the 13 daughters were his grandma or grandmas.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, are you focusing to Bob Magoon, his life, or are you focusing on the granddaughters, 13 of them?
I'm focusing on how Magoon wrote the play, $13. How he wrote the story.
You're talking about
the play.
You're talking about
how he bring his play to Broadway. This is a story about. Because as I checked, he may be the first one, the Chinese descendant, that ever wrote a play for Broadway. So he's number one. He's the first person.
But
first Chinese.
J.K. Li Jingyang.
J.K. Li
was the first one, right?
Was the one his play got onto Broadway in 1959. However, he is not original writer for the play. The writer for the play was not a flower drum song. Is a book. It's a novel. So he's as a writer to the novel, not to the play. And Bob Magoon, however, is original playwright to this.
Because I interviewed him. I once interviewed him.
Yes.
I mean, J.Y. Li, right? But J.Y. Li wrote the book, the novel, The Flower Drum Song. And he sold the novel to one of the Broadway play producer.
Yes.
And it is the Broadway producer,
have it written into a play. For musical,
arranged
arranged
it into a musical.
Right, and then after that, it was brought to Hollywood. So that would be the first Hollywood Chinese movie.
Oh, Lee is still benefiting from the
I think
the
so. It's
original
benefiting the book all his life.
All his life.
And,
Anyway.
and Bob McGowan, he wrote 4 musicals.
Bob McGowan was before him. You're saying that? Are you saying that?
And I also believe that I brought these 2 old men together. They knew each other.
You mean Bob McGowan and Lee?
Lee Jin-young's musical got onto Broadway in 1959, and McGowan's play got onto Broadway in 2 years later, 1961. They knew each other. However, they never meet. They never met together. I am the person.
You brought them together.
Why? Because McGowan once. There's a princess from Hawaii, and he's almost 80-some years old, and he's a horse fan. There's a race in Long Beach, and the princess went all the way from Hawaii come to Long Beach, but the race was canceled or something, so she stayed there, and McGowan got a chance to come
McGowan, right?
McGowan come to meet her as a friend.
Who?
McGowan. McGowan came to Long Beach to meet the princess of Hawaii Kingdom.
Oh, the princess of Hawaii.
Princess of Hawaii. He's quite old at that time.
I see.
And I got this news. I came to visit McGowan, and I brought C.Y. Lee to visit McGowan. I interviewed these 2 persons, and I shot a documentary for.
That probably would be the only meaning of these 2 great guys.
Yes. I think this is only.
J.Y. Lee is over 100 years old now.
Almost 100.
He's over. He's over
101 something.
He is 101 or 2 or somehow. Yeah. But he can still talk, listen, whatever.
I know. He just attended one of another stage play that he wrote together, worked with another one in California. Cal State LA, I think, 2 months ago. Yeah, okay. He showed up, still quite healthy.
He's still quite healthy. Yeah.
Amazing.
And I was, it was about 5 years ago, I met with him. He was asking me to introduce a girlfriend.
So he's quite active in dancing. He's
quite active in dancing. Yeah. All right.
That's why he lived that long.
Okay, very good. Yeah. My dear friend, with my director Glenn Jiang, we're having some good time. We're touching base with the creation of his next film, The 13 Daughters. And it's a good story. It's a long story, historical story, and the story not only related to the American film market, but related to some historical event that happens in Hawaii and in California, and the connection with some great writers who are over 100 years old so far. Now, interesting subject. So let's take a short moment out. When we come back, we'll continue finding stories of the 13 daughters that Glenn Jiang is working on. Stay with us, please. Hello, dear friends, lovely audiences. Welcome back to the show, Jack Chow on East West with G&E TV. In talking about the Chinese American Film Festival and the Chinese American TV Festival, we are doing a retrospect about the opening ceremonies, all kinds of ceremonies, including summit discussions, welcome banquet, and film showcases, award presentations, stuff like that. My friend Glenn Jiang, director and also a creator of lots of wonderful films, is here to share with me about his impression of the film festival and the TV festival. and we're touching base with him on he himself, what he's been lately doing, right? His project, we learned that he is working on his recent film called 13 Daughters. So we are finding some stories with 13 daughters. It turns out to be a wonderful story, and it is about the writer of 13 Daughters, not the 13 daughters themselves that I learned. Okay, now, welcome back to the show, Glenn.
Thank you, Jack.
Very good. All right, Glenn, good, that's good. So once again, it is clarified that your story of 13 daughters is not a matter of fact about 13 daughters. It's about Bob Magoon and his work entitled The 13 Daughters. Am I right?
Right. In 2009, when I visited him for the first time, he showed me his play, 13 Daughters. And later on, he read all this play for me and introduced how he wrote it. So I became more and more interested in his play. And he told me his life, all his life. He was suffered from stutter from the very beginning. So in Hawaii, there's no good doctor to cure him. So he was brought to Colorado, a famous school called Fountain Valley School, where there's a good doctor to cure him. Of course, stutter at that time, even now, is hard to cure. But at that time, he built up interest in the poem and the songs. Maybe the doctor told him to sing song and the poems in order to cure his stutterness. So, and from that on, he went all the way to New York University, to Yale, and the family want him to be a lawyer as his grandpa, who is a famous lawyer in New York. But his interest is not there. While in New York, he went to see shows on Broadway all the time. And he got interested in musical and liked to write songs, like poems, liked to write music. And when he returned to Honolulu, when about 10 theaters all belongs to Magoon family, or belongs to Magoon family.
They were rich families.
They're very rich,
right?
Even the Hawaiian airline, they got shares with the Hawaiian Airlines.
Oh, I see.
So it's a very rich family, Magoon family, and is known to all the Hawaiians there.
Does he look like Chinese anyway?
Well, I think his eyes is
still
not that deep. So but he got 1/8 of Chinese blood.
1/8, yeah.
1/8 Chinese blood.
Okay.
So anyway, he speak very little Chinese. He liked to wear a hat of Qing Dynasty.
I see.
Yeah, when I took a picture with him. He's very talkative. Even though he at this age of when I met him, he's already 80 years old. And still stutter is still there, and but he can sing good songs. And he told me that how he got the budget for his play in music in Broadway.
When he wrote a musical, he wrote the drama and the music itself.
Yes.
All himself.
He did everything for himself.
He did everything.
Unbelievable.
Even the music scores.
Even the music scores.
He scored the music.
I think with some help with the friends, but he did mostly all the job. For the writing of the drama, he made up the story.
Yes, okay.
He made up the story. He write the poems for and the songs. He made everything together. He's amazing. And all his life, he made 2 or 4 musical plays. And the 13 Daughters is the second one. The first one is called the 49th Star. When Hawaii almost became the 49th state of the United States. And then it turned to be Alaska became the 49th, and then Hawaii became the 50th states. By that time, it was 49th. So he wrote a play for the 49th Star. And the 13 Daughters is the second play. And he said this one is his favorite play all his life. And because 13 Daughters is his great-grandpa's daughters, and the eldest daughter, Emily.
What was the motivation? What was the motivation that gets you involved in telling stories of Bob Mogong?
Well, because we have a lot in mutual. To see, he was a businessman before, and I was a businessman. I was trying to do a foreign trade business.
I see.
And my interest was international relationship, just as his major. His first major in the university is not a lawyer; it's international relations.
I see.
Yes, just as mine. But I couldn't get into Beijing Foreign Affairs University. I went to the Shandong Foreign Trade College. So we were businessmen, and then I turned to art. He turned to art. So we have a lot in mutual.
Okay, you have second common ground.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when we talk along, we found.
How did you come to know him?
Through friends' introduction.
Through mutual
when
friend
I was shooting my first feature, it's called The Ink Blot.
Okay.
The first feature, 90 minutes. I cut it, and I got from when we shoot the movie, someone came to me and said, "We have play. If you're interested to produce it," I said, "Okay, we can go to see if I'm interested." So I went on to see this old man.
So you went
in
to
Northern
visit
California.
him?
I went to visit him. To visit him.
Is he in Hawaii or Northern California?
No, Northern California.
He's still in Northern California?
He's still there, but you know why he moved from Hawaii to Northern California? There's a story. Before he wrote musical for Broadway, he helped his family. His family has a real estate business. So he helped his family sold 25 acres land just next to the Hawaii University. Yeah. So, and then in return for this, he bought 35 square miles land in Northern California.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, including a very big winery called Lily Landry.
I see.
Yeah, a famous actress winery on that piece of land.
He's still owner of that 25 square
miles?
Well,
this is where my stories talk about this, and because his first musical, 13 Daughters, was successful, and Donna Michi started, and the second movie was called Thank Heaven for the Heathen. This is another movie, and later became called Aloha. He wanted to show this in Broadway. However, this one failed. So that is his dream to show his musical in Honolulu all the time. So he borrowed money actually by saying that he's borrowed money and use all his money as a collateral, to get the loan from the bank, from his friends, to build up a theater in a shopping mall. On top of the shopping mall, he built a theater. You know what? He was successful building the theater and played Aloha for some months. And then the second Gulf War happened. So at that time, most of the tourists were from Japan. At that time, no one dared to come. So the theater had to be closed. So he lost all his money, all his shares with his family. He was kicked out of the company by his brother. And he got a heart stroke, almost died. And he lost all his shares with his company. He lost his house even. So he has no place to live. With his friend's help, he came to Northern California to find somewhere to live until now.
So the time you met with him is the time that he was in difficulties.
It's all his the time after he was kicked out. I think to him, he said the life was not as good as before, but he's very lighthearted. Yeah, his house is still there on top of the mountain, looking into his winery. Now today is not even his brothers. His brothers sold everything. His brother, because I wrote this book, and he and his younger brother came together again. Because since he was kicked out in 1987, I think, and they never meet again. The two old men,
he and his brother,
they don't speak to each other anymore. Even in his later days, his younger brother called him, saying that if he can attend his birthday party, he didn't answer the phone at all. He said, "I love him as my younger brother. However, I don't talk to him because he kicked me out of the company when I was in difficulty."
In your film, did you talk about the relationship with the two brothers?
Yes, we do that.
And that'd be a lot of interesting story.
Because the book I finished, I showed McGowan this book. He changed his idea. He wanted to see the younger brother once more. So this book bring these two men together. When 2 years later, his younger brother died.
Oh God.
Yeah, his brother drove a car, circled his land. He couldn't find the door, no matter what, and he called him several times to find his door, the way to his door, and McGowan showed him the book, and he said, "Do you turn it from left to right or from right to left?" Anyway, because of this book, the two old men came together. I think there's a movie like that in Hollywood before. Talking about an old brother drew an old car and to see his younger brother in his later days when he found out his cancer.
In other words, it's not your fiction; it's a true story.
It is true story.
It's a true story.
McGowan actually he got 4 cancers in all his life.
Oh,
however, and
he's
God
95 years old anyway.
He's 95 years old. He got skin cancer. He got lung cancer, but however, that is early time he could find a good doctor to get him cured. So it's a very interesting story.
Very good. And now, dear friends, we got a chance to learn a new masterpiece of Glenn Jiang, director of film, a new film, the $13. It's a story about the writer of the $13, Bob McGowan. Let's take a short moment now. When we come back, we'll still love to hear more about the story. And also, as a film, most importantly, we want to touch about the preparation of shooting. All right, so stay with us, please.
Thank you.
Hello, dear friends, lovely audiences. Welcome back to the show. Jack Chow. On the G&E TV from East to West. With me today, we have my friend Glenn Jiang, director of wonderful films, joining me. He has several masterpieces himself, and in 2010 or 11, I believe, his short film has even won the award for short for Golden Angel during the Chinese American Film Festival, right? Very good. And now he is working on his next project entitled The $13. As a matter of fact, is the story about the writer of $13, which is a Hollywood stage play, musical. Bob McGowan is the writer, and it's a story about himself, right? Okay, now. As a film, I know the first hand scratch is money, right?
Yes.
Once you finish writing the script, so the script is finished already, right?
Almost the first draft. Obviously, I finished myself the treatment and the first draft. And now I know you want to talk about how we do this business, and we want to set up a good example for the co-production between China and the United States. I got a firm here, the film company here, and I got also a company in China. However, I worked with another company, film company in China, to make a co-production. And we are talking to the investors right now. We are going to talk about how we get the budget for this whole film.
How much in total do you think will be a budget for a film like this?
I think so far we talk about $7 million as 15 million Chinese.
$7 million US. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, now with the WGA Writer Guild, they considered a big budget movie now. But
Yeah,
in Hollywood, actually,
of course, yeah.
Even 50 million is medium. But
No.
however, 7 million is already.
You're talking about in your story.
Yes.
There's no big scenes.
Oh no, there's a big scenes.
There are big scenes?
For example, because this is still a historic story. Back in the 1930s, and also there's $13 that show on Broadway, and it's a show also in Honolulu. There's a Hawaiian theater. We talked about that. We're going to play the show there in Hawaii.
I know.
Theater.
After all, you're
that
talking about.
Still big things.
After all, you're talking about a theater that's set with lots of audiences, right?
Right.
That's about the largest scene that you're talking about.
Right.
You don't have
And
those like.
also, we have a story when Bob Magoon serves the Army, Navy, Air Force in Italy.
I see.
We have scenes like an airplane.
You have him flying.
We have not him flying, but his friend flying who died.
Okay.
Because during the second year in Yale, when he was studying international relation, the Second World War came, and he went to volunteer to serve the Navy, serve the Air Force.
So what was so important of his life story that is worth putting into a film? So that's the part, and also into a film that is worth $7 million in budget. That's really a big thing to me.
Yes, it is. We want to have a good film, so the budget is important.
It is important.
Yeah, we see a good movie is built up on the money, but it is right.
Yeah, I know.
You want a good actor.
Compared to Hollywood, for $7 million is a middle range.
Not even a middle range. Hollywood,
right?
the middle range is about 50 million. 50 million is middle range. For example, remember we talked about the movie memoirs of what do you say? Zhang Ziyi started in it. A memoir of a geisha, which is 60 million.
60
million US dollar. 60 million. That is about a little more over medium.
Well, anyway.
Now 7 million is okay. It's not but still considered as a big budget now.
To my understanding, for a film like that kind of setting, I mean the story setting, 7 million is quite a lot of money. Yeah. And plus, if you get the money from China though, 7 million is a lot, right?
Now today it's 40, easily we
is
can 50 million.
50 million already. Am I right?
50 million, yes.
So that's a lot of. So have you got this money locked in your safe?
No, we have 30 million. We talk about the one investor, one single investor. He wanted to do this one.
No, 30 million RMB.
RMB, yes.
That's about 5.
That is about less than 4 something.
4 something.
Yeah, 4 something.
You, in other words, you got more than half of money you needed.
Right. So far, we are talking about if we can get money here in the United States, or still the other half from China.
Why don't you go pre-sales? You want to pre-sell your film for. Of course, there is always a comparison in between. I mean, in amount of money you sell now and you sell later, right? If you sell now, you get less. However, you're secured for a certain return. And you may get more in the future. However, you get into a big risk.
I know there's multiple ways of selling the movie now. And
you can sell it partial.
Yes. Yeah, thank you for this idea. There's actually, we have a producer. They are doing this right now. So I think we have more details to talk about later for this film's business.
Now that you have more than half of the money, and you can pre-sell, well, a little portion of it, so that you get the money needed to kickstart the whole thing,
right?
Rather than going around for many years after years talking about the same thing, same project.
Yes. Now before the return is on the box office. Right now, there's a pre-sale, there's advertisement, there's
Yes.
incomes from here and there. Yes.
All right, very good.
Okay.
My dear friends, today in the retrospect, talking about the Chinese American Film Festival, and by the way, my dear friend, I at this show, we promote everybody. We promote actors, actresses, whatsoever, and we promote directors. Promising director Glenn Zhang is the one that I'm promoting now. We're promoting now, and he is ready for his next project, the $13 of Bob McGuan, and based upon his novel Hawaii, Honolulu, right? Honolulu Lake.
Story.
Story. Oh, story. Lathe of Memories.
Lay of Memory.
Lay of Memories,
Yes.
right?
Well,
very
this is
good.
one of the songs that I like the most in the play, in this musical.
Lay of
called
Memories.
Lay of
Very
Memory.
good. Very good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, my dear friends, for watching. And to Glenn, thank you very much for sharing. Wish you good luck. I wish you an early kickoff.
Thank you, Jack.
All right. Good.
Thank you, EDI.